Genesis chapter 14, an overview. So yes, why is this kind of chapter here in the Bible? Why is this whole fight mentioned? A lot being taken away. I mean, it doesn't seem as if this is such an important kind of story on this, if it can be left out of and everything will be still in place. But actually, it is a very important chapter, and especially since the appearance here of Melchizedek, right? Why did he come into the picture? And then as well later on in the Bible, how Melchizedek will be used and time again, and then in Hebrews, Jesus is going to be called a priest according to the order of Melchizedek, right? Not a Levitical priest. And so that is most likely why the story is here, and why it's such an important story actually of introducing to us Melchizedek, right? This enigmatic person, enigmatic priest of the city of Salem, and Abram giving him a tenth of everything, and what that then implies. Okay, so let's see, then look at this chapter. In the days, verse 1. In the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Shalomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Gorim. These kings made war with Bera, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar. And all these joined forces in the valley of Sidon, that is the Salt Sea. Right, so you have here a list of the names of these kings who made war. Okay, war against each other. And ultimately the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, that group of kings, they are going to lose this war, and they're going to be forced to serve these other kings, as we can see here. Okay, and where it happened is that all of this first war happened there in the valley of Sidon in the Salt Sea, so it's near the Dead Sea, so in that vicinity. Right. So yes, war. I was choosing or looking for a place to shoot these verses. It was not always fun. I mean, there's no real war memorial in the spot, and although there are lots of police stations and army bases, camps in the site, now due to the current circumstances here, it's not been wise. I mean, we're not going to start and shoot the people there. Okay, so we pick ultimately the tower here in the law, which in the old days, in those days when there was a war going on, or in the people, they build the cities with the walls, and in the walls there would be towers, so the people can be in the towers and can be in the lookout. Okay, so we are kind of here, there's a lot of war going on in this chapter, so we're kind of here at the tower, so you can kind of get in, and you have a view of the area, you can see when the enemy is coming. Now in this case, right, this war, this specific battle here did not happen inside the city, right? They collected, they joined forces, the two teams, to put it that way, the two groups, they joined forces, they created these two groups, basically. The one group with the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah and other kings in it, and the other group with kings coming from the north. And they formed these two groups. And they then had a battle out there on the plain, right, in the area of the Dead Sea. Verse 4. 12 years had served Chedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. So they lost this first war, verse 1 to 3, and then after 12 years, they decided, well, they had enough of serving Chedorlaomer. They want to be free. Most likely part of serving another king is to pay money to the king. You don't have kind of freedom. Somebody's ruling over you. So So after 12 years, they decide they want to be rid of Chedorlaomer. They want to do things their way again. So they rebel. In the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him came and defeated the Rephaim in Ashtaroth, Canaan, the Zuzim in Ham, the Emim in Sheva, Kirithim, and the Horites in the hill country of Seir, as far as El Paran, on the border of the wilderness. Okay, so in the 12th year, they decided that they are going to try and they don't want to serve these kings anymore. They want to now serve they want to be free. So it took them a while, seemingly a year or so, because only after a year they rebelled. So it took them a year most likely of getting everything sorted, getting the forces together, deciding who will join where. Okay? And then it took a year for Chedorlaomer to get his group together. Okay, and come down and defeat these kings that joined forces against him. Right, so to build his group, to build his, to get enough kings to join with him so as to defeat, right, this group of kings. Okay, so in the 14th year now they come. So he comes with, and he defeats all these other kings. Okay, so, verse 6. And the Horites in the hill country of Seir as far as El Paran, the border of the wilderness. Right, so they came, they defeated all these groups, and now in this case it happens there in this hill country, right? It's not the first war happened. The first war was close to the Dead Sea, more there in the valley. So now they are in the hill country. Maybe the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah thought, the previous time we lost there in the plain, maybe if we're in the hill country, a little bit more is more to our advantage, we might be able to win this war. Okay, we tried that part before, now let's try something different. But anyhow, it didn't work. The second time it didn't work any better. Even here in the hill country, they are defeated. Verse 7. Then they turned back and came to En-Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and defeated all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites who were dwelling in Hazan Tamar. Okay, so more war against other groups that is now rebelling, that they come, Chedorlaomer, he comes, and he defeats them as well. Verse 8. Then the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zebulun, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar, went out, and they joined battle in the valley of Sodom, with Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tyre, king of Goim, Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arya, king of Elasah, 4 kings against 5. Okay, so now that Chedorlaomer got rid of all these guys here on the side, okay, all the smaller groups most likely, now he is getting ready for the big battle. The battle, the 5 kings against the 4, or the 4 against the 5, whichever way it's stated if you want to look at it. Anyhow, so he is ready for this new war. All the smaller guys, all those, it makes sense in the war. You don't want other people, you don't want to go and attack a main force and still have smaller forces in the back. Because if you attack while you're attacking these guys, and these smaller forces in the back can start attacking you, right? So then you are not protected. So you logically, you try to first make sure there's no danger coming from the back, right? Like I'm standing out with my back to the tower. I don't know if a car comes and hits me or something here or whatever, and somebody can come up and hit me from the back, because I can't see what's happening in my back. So with a war as well, he first gets rid of all, especially those groups in the hills. Right? So he's going to fight in the valley down below, and there's other people in the hills that can, while he's fighting here in the valley, can come from the hills and attack him. Okay, then that's not wise. He's in danger, right? So he wants to get rid first of all those groups, and then when those groups are out of the way, now he can have his main force and he can focus safe on the back, and you can focus everything on the front. And this is what is happening here. Okay, so now they are fighting against these kings. There's 5 kings against 4 kings. Well, I mean, the people in those days were pretty much still a, what's the word for it, a city-states. Okay, so it's not as if you had these big countries as of yet, with hundreds of thousands of soldiers coming. Okay, so it's a city-state. Okay, so these cities, they have their people, and they come and they fight. Okay, so this is as well this collection of city-states fighting against these other groups. Okay, so 4 kings against 5, right? In a Western kind of concept, we sometimes think of a king, like the King of England, for example. He's the king of the whole country. Okay, lots of European countries, they still have their king, so it's the king of a country. Right, but if you go, like, say, to Africa, for example, South Africa, there are lots of kings in South Africa, and in other countries in Africa, they have lots of kings. And those kings are not really kings of a whole country, right? They are often just kings of a small tribe somewhere. Okay, so yeah, this is as well more this kind of king that you have. That's a king of a small group or a city, and not the king of a whole country.